In the quiet neighborhood of Willow Creek, the community pool was more than just a place to swim. It was a gathering spot, a source of laughter on warm summer days, and a shared space where families created lasting memories. Karen, the Homeowners Association president, knew this well. She had served on the board for several years and took her role seriously, always striving to keep things running smoothly. One early Saturday morning, Karen reviewed the latest reports from the board meeting. There had been a few complaints about overcrowding and noise at the pool, and some neighbors had expressed concerns about safety. After much discussion, the board had agreed to implement a new guideline. Only residents and their immediate family members would have pool access during peak hours. Karen felt confident this rule would help maintain a peaceful and safe environment for everyone. She drafted a clear notice and arranged for signs to be posted around the pool area. The message was straightforward but firm. The pool was a privilege reserved for residents and their direct families, to ensure comfort and safety for all. That afternoon, Karen arrived at the pool to check on the new signs and speak with the pool attendant. As she walked through the entrance gate, she noticed a small group gathered near the water, neighbors chatting and children splashing in the shallow end. Among them were Sam and Mia, a friendly couple who had recently moved into the neighborhood. With their 2 young children, Sam waved at Karen as she approached, smiling. "Hi, Karen. Beautiful day for the pool, isn't it?" Karen smiled politely. "It sure is, Sam. I wanted to remind everyone about the new pool guidelines. We're asking that only residents and immediate family members use the pool during busy times. It's to keep the area safe and enjoyable for everyone." Sam's smile faltered slightly. "I understand, but what about my sister and her kids? They're visiting this weekend, and we were hoping to spend some time together here." Karen shook her head gently. "I'm sorry, Sam. The rule is clear, and it's important we all follow it. It's not meant to exclude anyone unfairly, but we have to keep consistent." Mia joined the conversation, her tone calm but concerned. "We've always enjoyed sharing the pool with family and close friends. It's part of what makes this neighborhood special. Is there any way to make an exception?" Karen felt a familiar twinge of frustration. She was committed to enforcing the rules but also wanted to be fair. "I wish I could, Mia, but the board agreed this is necessary. We've had issues in the past and this is the best way to address them." The conversation grew a bit more tense as other neighbors nearby took notice. A few voiced their agreement with Karen, supporting her efforts to maintain order. Others quietly sympathized with Sam and Mia's viewpoint. Just then, a man approached the gate holding a small cooler. "Hey, I'm John. I'm visiting my daughter. Here, I was hoping to use the pool with her and her kids." Karen stepped forward politely. "Hi, John. Unfortunately, visitors who aren't immediate family won't be allowed during peak hours. It's a new guideline to help us manage the pool better." John looked disappointed but nodded. "I see. I guess I'll just wait outside then." As the afternoon wore on, the tension around the pool's entrance grew. A few neighbors attempted to enter with guests, leading to brief discussions with Karen and the pool attendant. At one point, Karen found herself needing to explain the rules multiple times. Her patience tested. Later that evening, Karen received a call from the pool attendant. "Karen, there's a situation here. Some guests are insisting on using the pool despite the guidelines. It's getting heated." Karen took a deep breath. She knew how important it was to enforce the rules, but she hadn't expected things to escalate so quickly. After speaking with the attendant, she decided to go to the pool herself. When Karen arrived, she found Sam and Mia standing firmly at the gate, speaking calmly but with conviction. Other neighbors were gathered nearby, watching intently. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation. After a brief but firm conversation, Karen realized the group wasn't going to leave easily. They believed they had a right to bring their family members to the pool. And Karen felt caught between her responsibilities and the rising tension. Reluctantly, Karen reached for her phone and called the local police department for assistance. She explained the situation and requested an officer to help maintain peace and ensure the guidelines were followed as she hung up. Karen had no idea what was coming next, a series of events that would test not only her leadership but also the neighborhood's ability to come together. Within minutes, 2 officers arrived at the Willow Creek pool. Their presence, calm and professional, immediately caught the attention of everyone gathered. Karen greeted them with a mixture of relief and nervousness, while Sam and Mia exchanged glances, uncertain of how the situation would unfold. Officer Ramirez stepped forward, clipboard in hand. "Good afternoon, everyone. We received a call about a dispute over pool access. Can someone explain what's happening here?" Karen took a deep breath and began. "I'm the HOA president, and we recently implemented a guideline limiting pool access to residents and their immediate family during busy hours. Some residents have brought guests who don't meet that definition, and they're refusing to comply with the rule." Sam nodded and added, "We understand the need for rules, but we feel the guideline is too strict. My sister and her children are visiting, and we want to enjoy the pool together. We believe that sharing with family is part of the neighborhood spirit." Officer Ramirez listened attentively, then turned to the small crowd. "Has there been any physical altercation or damage to property?" "No, just some raised voices and disagreement," Karen replied. Mia spoke up. "We've been respectful, but we think the rule might be unfair as it stands." The officer nodded thoughtfully. "Our role here is to ensure everyone remains safe and the peace is maintained. The HOA has the authority to set rules for shared amenities. But enforcement beyond that usually doesn't involve the police unless there's a safety concern or a clear violation of law." Karen's expression softened slightly. "That makes sense. I just wanted to make sure things didn't get out of hand." Officer Ramirez addressed the group. "I encourage you all to work together to find a solution. For now, it's important to keep interactions respectful. If disputes arise, the HOA board can handle them through proper channels. The police generally don't get involved in enforcement of HOA rules unless things escalate." The neighbors murmured among themselves, some relieved, others still unsure. Sam approached Karen. "Karen, we appreciate your efforts and we want to respect the community's rules. Maybe there's a way to discuss this as a neighborhood and find a solution that works for everyone." Karen nodded. "I'm open to that. I don't want this to create divisions." Officer Ramirez smiled. "That's a good attitude. Sometimes it takes a bit of dialogue to find common ground." As the officers prepared to leave, a few neighbors lingered, sharing their own thoughts about the situation. Some mentioned that while safety and order were important, the pool had always been a place for families to come together. Others emphasized the need to respect the board's decisions. Karen and Sam agreed to schedule a neighborhood meeting to talk about the pool guidelines. Both hoped it would be an opportunity to clear up misunderstandings and work toward policies that felt fair and welcoming. That evening, Karen reflected on the day's events. She had wanted to maintain order and protect the neighborhood's peaceful atmosphere. But she realized that enforcing rules wasn't always straightforward. The mix of feelings from residents showed that community living required patience and openness. Meanwhile, Sam and Mia discussed their plans with friends and neighbors. They were encouraged by the willingness to listen and hoped their voices would be heard. In the days ahead, the pool became a quieter place. The new guidelines were observed more closely. But the conversations sparked by the police visit continued in backyards, emails, and friendly chats. The neighborhood was at a crossroads, faced with a choice to deepen understanding or let differences grow. Neither Karen nor Sam knew what the next chapter would bring, but both felt ready to face it together. In the days following the police visit, the calm of Willow Creek was punctuated by quiet conversations and thoughtful reflections. Karen sat at her kitchen table one morning reviewing the HOA's official documents on pool access policies. She had relied on these rules for years. Today they seemed less clear-cut than she had remembered. Curious to better understand the exact wording, Karen printed out the HOA bylaws and the pool usage guidelines. She carefully read through each section, noting that while the rules mentioned residents and immediate family, the definitions were somewhat vague. Was a visiting cousin considered immediate family? What about close friends who had lived nearby for years? Meanwhile, across the neighborhood, Sam and Mia also pulled out their own copies of the HOA rules. They had attended the last board meeting, but hadn't had the chance to fully digest the written guidelines. As they read, they found certain phrases that seemed open to interpretation. Terms like guest and family member were not explicitly defined. "This is confusing," Mia said, marking a section with her highlighter. "It doesn't really say what counts as immediate family. I wonder if we could ask for a clearer explanation." Sam nodded in agreement. "I think we should bring this up at the next HOA meeting. If the rules aren't clear, it's hard for anyone to know what's allowed." Both Karen and Sam realized that while the rules had good intentions, their lack of clarity was causing unintended misunderstandings. They also recognized that different residents were interpreting the guidelines based on their own experiences and expectations to get a better sense of the community's feelings. Sam started chatting with neighbors during his morning walks. Many echoed his thoughts. They wanted to respect the rules, but wished for clearer guidance and a little more flexibility, especially when it came to family visits. At the same time, Karen reached out to the HOA board members. She shared her concerns about the ambiguous language and suggested they review the pool access rules together. The board agreed it was a good idea, realizing that transparency and clarity could prevent future conflicts. A few days later, the HOA secretary emailed all residents, inviting them to submit questions or comments about the pool guidelines before the upcoming board meeting. The goal was to gather input and prepare for a productive discussion. Mia and Sam quickly drafted an email outlining their points, emphasizing the importance of welcoming family members and asking for clearer definitions in the rules. They also proposed a community forum where residents could share their thoughts openly. Karen read their email carefully. She appreciated their respectful tone and recognized the validity of their concerns. It was clear this situation had opened the door for important conversations. As the date of the meeting approached, anticipation grew. Residents wondered if the board would take steps to revise the guidelines and how. Karen would navigate the delicate balance between enforcing rules and honoring neighbors' feelings. On the evening of the meeting, community center was filled with familiar faces. The atmosphere was warm but expectant, a sign that everyone cared deeply about the neighborhoods. Harmony. Karen opened the session with a sincere statement. "Thank you all for coming. Our goal tonight is to listen and learn from each other. We want to ensure that our pool remains a safe, enjoyable place for everyone." Sam and Mia shared their perspective, highlighting their experience and the desire to find common ground. Other residents added their voices, expressing a range of ideas and hopes for the pool's future. Throughout the discussion, Karen listened thoughtfully. She acknowledged that her role as HOA president was not only to enforce rules, but to serve as a bridge between neighbors. The board agreed to form a committee to review the pool guidelines and recommend updates based on community input. Karen invited Sam and Mia to join, recognizing their valuable viewpoint. As the meeting concluded, the sense of collaboration was palpable. Though questions remained, the neighborhood had taken an important step toward greater understanding. Walking home, Karen felt a renewed commitment to her role, one grounded not just in rules, but in connection. Sam and Mia felt hopeful, believing that their voices and those of their neighbors would help shape a more welcoming community. In Willow Creek, the ripple from a single guideline was beginning to turn into a wave of thoughtful change. In the days following the community meeting, Willow Creek felt different. The conversation about pool access had sparked a wave of thoughtful reflection among residents. People talked more openly over morning coffees, during evening walks, and at weekend gatherings about what made their neighborhood special and how the pool played a role in bringing everyone together. Karen, despite the weight of her responsibilities, As HOA president, found herself energized by the newfound openness. She received messages from neighbors thanking her for listening and asking how they could contribute to positive change. For her, this was a reminder that leadership wasn't just about enforcing rules, it was about understanding people. Sam and Mia, too, noticed a shift. They heard from neighbors who shared similar concerns about the pool guidelines, but also from those who valued the order and safety the rules aimed to preserve. It was clear that opinions varied, and that finding the right balance would require patience and cooperation. One afternoon, Karen met with David, respected HOA board member known for his calm and thoughtful approach. David had observed the growing conversations and offered to help facilitate dialogue within the community. "I'd seen how these situations can bring out both the best and the most challenging parts of neighborhood life," David said over coffee. "But there are also opportunities, chances to build understanding and stronger connections." Karen nodded. "Right? I want to make sure we get this right. Kay, the pool is important to everyone, and I don't want anyone to feel excluded or unheard." David smiled. "That's why it's great to involve a diverse group in the discussion. Different perspectives help us create solutions that work for everyone." Together, they reached out to residents from different backgrounds and parts of the neighborhood, inviting them to join an informal advisory group. The goal was simple: to share experiences, express concerns, and brainstorm ideas for the pool's future. At the first meeting, the group gathered in the community center's cozy conference room. There was a warm but earnest atmosphere as neighbors introduced themselves and spoke about what the pool meant to them. Linda, who had lived in Willow Creek for over 20 years, shared how the pool had been a place where her family made memories. "It's where my kids learned to swim and where we met lifelong friends," she said. "But I understand that with more people using it, we need clear guidelines." Jamal, a newer resident, spoke about the importance of flexibility. "We all want to feel welcome. Sometimes family members visit from out of town, and it means a lot to be able to include them." As each person spoke, Karen and David listened carefully. They noted recurring themes: safety, fairness, inclusivity, and respect. The group agreed that while rules were necessary, they needed to be clear, reasonable, and communicated well. Back at home, Karen reflected on the evening. She realized that while enforcing policies was part of her job, nurturing a sense of belonging was just as important. The pool wasn't just an amenity, it was a gathering place, a bridge between neighbors. Meanwhile, Sam and Mia met with some of their neighbors to talk about the ongoing conversations. They appreciated how many people were willing to engage and hoped the advisory group would help move the neighborhood toward a shared understanding. The advisory group began meeting regularly, drafting ideas for updated pool guidelines. They explored options like clearer definitions of immediate family, flexible guest passes for special occasions, and improved communication strategies so everyone understood the rules. Karen kept the HOA board informed, emphasizing the importance of transparency and community involvement. The board welcomed the effort, recognizing that the process was as valuable as the outcome. As weeks passed, Willow Creek's spirit of cooperation grew. The pool, once a source of tension, was becoming a catalyst for connection. Neighbors who had previously been strangers found themselves sharing stories and laughs. Karen and Sam even found common ground, discovering they both cared deeply about the neighborhood's future. The journey wasn't over. But Willow Creek was moving forward together. As the advisory group's discussions deepened, Karen realized that navigating the pool access issue required a careful balance. She was committed to ensuring that the rules respected everyone's needs while preserving the peace and safety that the neighborhood valued. Yet, she also understood that her role wasn't just to enforce, but to listen and collaborate. One afternoon, Karen received a call from David, the board member who had been helping coordinate the advisory group. His voice carried a tone of encouragement. "Karen, I think it might be helpful to bring in someone with experience in community mediation. It could guide us in shaping solutions that everyone can support." Karen agreed. "That sounds like a great idea." Sometimes, an outside perspective helps when emotions run high and different opinions emerge. Together, they reached out to Maya, a respected local mediator known for her skill in facilitating community discussions. Maya had a reputation for creating spaces where people felt heard and where collaboration flourished. At the next advisory group meeting, Maya arrived with a warm smile and an open demeanor. She began by acknowledging the community's dedication. "I'm glad to see a group so willing to work together. My role here is to help guide your conversation and ensure every voice is valued." The residents appreciated Maya's approach. Rather than jumping into solutions, she invited everyone to share their experiences and hopes for the pool. As neighbors spoke, Maya helped them explore not only their differences but also the shared values that united them. Sam and Mia recounted their desire for family visits to be a natural part of their pool time, emphasizing how these moments strengthened their sense of home. Karen explained her responsibilities and the challenges she faced in keeping order without alienating anyone. Throughout the session, Maya encouraged empathy and understanding. "When we listen with openness, we often discover more common ground than we expect," she said. The group brainstormed creative ideas to update the pool guidelines. Some suggestions included a clear definition of immediate family that included parents, siblings, children, and grandchildren. A guest pass system allowing limited visits for extended family or close friends during certain times. Special exceptions for celebrations such as birthdays or holidays, with advance notice to the HOA. Improved signage and communication materials that explained the rules in friendly, accessible language. David suggested setting up an online forum where residents could continue sharing feedback between meetings. This digital space provided a place for ongoing conversation, helping keep the community engaged. Karen felt the weight of her earlier frustrations lift as the process unfolded. Instead of enforcing rules in isolation, she was now part of a collaborative effort, one that reflected the neighborhood's diverse needs and aspirations. At the next HOA board meeting, Karen and David presented the advisory group's progress. The board listened carefully and expressed enthusiasm for the thoughtful approach. "It's clear that this community cares deeply about its shared spaces," the HOA president remarked. "We're proud of the collaborative spirit shown here." Plans for revised pool guidelines took shape. Karen reached out to Sam and Mia to thank them for their participation. They met for coffee, sharing stories about their families and their hopes for the neighborhood. "This has been a journey," Mia said with a smile, "but I think we're moving in a positive direction." Karen nodded. "I agree. It's been a reminder that leadership means listening as much as deciding." With Maya's guidance, the neighborhood found a new rhythm, one where respect and cooperation set the tone. The pool, once a source of tension, was now poised to become a place of connection and celebration once more. After several weeks of collaboration, the advisory group finalized a draft of the updated pool access guidelines. The process had been thorough and thoughtful, with input from a wide range of neighbors. Everyone involved had contributed to shaping rules that reflected both the community's desire for safety and its welcoming spirit. Karen called a special HOA meeting to present the proposed changes. The community center was filled with eager residents, many of whom had followed the advisory group's progress closely. There was a sense of anticipation, the moment when years of discussion would be put into words and decisions. Karen stood at the podium, taking a deep breath. "Thank you all for coming. This revised guideline is the result of many conversations and efforts to balance safety, fairness, and inclusion. We believe it addresses concerns while maintaining the peaceful enjoyment of our pool," she outlined. The key points: clear definitions of immediate family now included parents, siblings, children, grandchildren, and legal guardians. A new guest pass system would allow residents to invite up to 2 guests during designated non-peak hours. Special occasion passes could be requested for family celebrations, provided the HOA was notified in advance. Updated signage and communication materials would be distributed to ensure everyone understood the guidelines. After the presentation, the floor opened for questions and comments. Many residents expressed appreciation for the thoughtful approach. Linda, a longtime neighbor, spoke up. "I'm glad to see that the board listened to our concerns and worked to find a fair solution." Jamal added, "The guest pass system feels reasonable. It allows for flexibility without compromising safety." Even some who had been hesitant initially acknowledged the value of the new guidelines. The conversation was respectful and constructive, a testament to the hard work that had gone into the process. Karen felt a wave of relief and pride. This was more than just a set of rules. It was a reflection of what Willow Creek stood for: community, respect, and cooperation. The revised guidelines were approved by a strong majority, with a commitment from the board to review them regularly and remain open to feedback. In the weeks that followed, the HOA sent out printed materials and updated the neighborhood website with the new policies. Pool attendants received training to help them explain the guidelines to residents and guests, ensuring consistency. Karen took a moment one afternoon to walk by the pool. She saw children playing, families relaxing, and neighbors chatting. The atmosphere was light and welcoming. The pool had regained its role as a hub of community life. She spotted Sam and Mia nearby, chatting with some friends and waving cheerfully. Karen smiled and waved back. It felt like the neighborhood had taken a step forward together. That evening, Karen reflected on the journey, from the tense confrontation to the collaborative process. The experience had taught her much about leadership and community. Rules were important, yes, but so was listening, empathy, and a willingness to adapt. Sam and Mia, too, felt hopeful. The new guidelines meant they could enjoy the pool with family and friends, knowing the community supported them. Willow Creek was not perfect. No neighborhood ever was. But it was a place where neighbors worked together, shared values, and respected one another's voices. As summer approached, the pool promised to be a place of joy and connection once more. Summer arrived at Willow Creek with warm sunshine and the familiar hum of life around the neighborhood pool. This year, the atmosphere was different. Lighter, friendlier, more inclusive. The revised pool guidelines were in place and residents were embracing the new spirit of cooperation. Karen watched as families arrived, some carrying picnic baskets and others with pool toys in tow. The guest pass system was working smoothly. Visitors were welcomed during non-peak hours without incident. And special occasion passes had allowed neighbors to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries by the water. One Saturday afternoon, the community gathered for the first official pool party since the guidelines had been updated. The HOA had helped organize the event, inviting everyone to come together for games, food, and conversation. Karen stood near the refreshment table, greeting neighbors with a warm smile. She noticed Sam chatting animatedly with his sister and her children, all laughing and enjoying the sun. It was the kind of scene she had hoped for. Neighbors sharing space, stories, and smiles. Mia approached Karen with a plate of snacks. "This is wonderful, Karen. I think the pool has really become a place where everyone feels welcome." Karen nodded. "I couldn't agree more. It's been a journey, but seeing this makes it all worthwhile." As the afternoon unfolded, the pool area buzzed with activity. Children splashed in the water, teens played volleyball, and adults mingled on the sidelines. The event reflected the neighborhood's diversity and its shared commitment to harmony. During a break in the festivities, Karen spoke with David and Maya. "Your help made a huge difference," Karen said. "Having a mediator helped us find common ground when it felt out of reach." Maya smiled. "It was a privilege to support such a thoughtful community." Remember, ongoing communication is key. Keep listening and adapting. David added, "This pool is more than water and concrete. It's a gathering place where connections are built. That's what makes Willow Creek special." Later that evening, as the sun set over the neighborhood, Karen walked home with a sense of satisfaction. The pool party was just one moment, but it symbolized something bigger, a community willing to grow and evolve together. Sam and Mia lingered by the pool a bit longer, talking with friends. They reflected on how far things had come since the day the police were called. What had started as a conflict was now an opportunity, a chance to deepen ties and create a more welcoming environment. "Do you think this will last?" Mia asked Sam. Smiled. "I think it has too. When neighbors take the time to listen and understand, good things happen." Karen's phone buzzed with a message. It was from a new resident, thanking her for the warm welcome and asking about pool access. Karen replied quickly, happy to share the updated guidelines and invite them to the next neighborhood event. The sense of community in Willow Creek was growing stronger every day. As the summer continued, the pool became a symbol of that spirit. A place where everyone had a voice and every family could find a place to belong. Karen knew challenges would come again someday, but now armed with patience, understanding, and the power of collaboration. She felt ready for whatever the future held. The summer of change gradually settled into the rhythm of every day. Life in Willow Creek. What had begun as a tense disagreement over pool access had evolved into a defining moment for the neighborhood, a chance to build trust, communication, and community spirit. Karen often reflected on her journey from that difficult day when she had called the police, unsure if she had handled things well. The process that followed had been a lesson in humility and leadership. Realized that rules, while necessary, were only part of the picture. Understanding, empathy, and a willingness to listen were what truly made a neighborhood thrive. One evening, Karen stood on her porch, looking out over the softly lit pool area. Families were still enjoying the last hours of daylight, laughter drifting through the warm air. The changes in pool policies had brought a new sense of balance, safety, and order alongside flexibility and warmth. Sam and Mia approached, waving as they joined her on the porch. They shared stories of recent pool visits with their extended family and neighbors. "Feels good to be part of a place that listens," Sam said, "where we can all share these moments without worry." Mia smiled. "This neighborhood isn't just where we live, it's where we grow together." Karen nodded. "That's exactly it. We're not perfect, but we're learning. And that's what counts." Over the months, the HOA continued to embrace community input. The advisory group remained active, welcoming new voices and fresh ideas. Karen made sure to keep the lines of communication open through newsletters, forums, and friendly conversations. The pool area itself saw improvements too. New signage clearly explained the updated rules in a welcoming tone. Comfortable seating. Areas encouraged neighbors to linger and connect. Regular social events brought together people of all ages and backgrounds. More importantly, the spirit of collaboration extended beyond the pool. Neighbors began organizing block parties, gardening, clubs, and support networks. The challenges faced over pool access had opened the door to a more engaged and caring community. Karen thought often of the role she played in this transformation. She realized that leadership was not about power or control, but about service and connection. Her relationship with residents like Sam and Mia had grown from conflict into partnership. One afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows over the neighborhood, Karen received a letter from the HOA board. It was an official recognition of her dedication and efforts to bring the community together. The letter praised her openness, patience, and ability to foster understanding. Karen felt a quiet pride. The journey had been hard, but the outcome was worth it. She had learned that sometimes the most challenging moments can lead to the strongest bonds. As she folded the letter and placed it on her desk, Karen looked out once more at the neighborhood pool. Now a symbol of unity, resilience, and hope, Willow Creek had changed, just as its residents had. They had faced uncertainty and disagreement, but emerged stronger, ready for whatever the future might bring, and through it all, the pool remained at the heart of the community, a place where stories began. Friendships blossomed, and new beginnings were always possible.